I think that has to be my favorite genre. Hey, you're watching.
Hey, everybody.
Left on Red Games. I'm
This is Kris.
Chris. This is Human Carl.
Human Carl. And then this is our mascot for now. Other Carl. Or probably.
It's just Carl.
Yeah, primary
Don't
Carl.
Respect the rabbit, Carl.
Yeah.
He might be a bunny. So, we're making just a quick rundown. We're making a video game. We are amateur programmers. I'm an amateur programmer. Carl's a brand new programmer. We love video games. We decided to make one and document the journey on YouTube if you want to follow along. We'd love to have you. Comment, like, subscribe. So we just thought like a fun video to do would just be to talk about some of the stuff that drew us to video games. Some of our get to know us a little bit better. So one thing first, right off the bat, first video game system.
So I guess my very first game I think was Duck Hunt on the NES because there's like a picture of me as like a child and the gun is like the size of my head.
So you don't remember
playing. I do remember playing it. Yeah, I do remember playing it. And then my first console that I owned was a Sega Genesis. And it came with Sonic the Hedgehog.
So that's your first console.
That was my first console.
And then the NES was just the Duck Hunt NES was somebody else's.
I think it was probably like
a friend of the family.
It was like my cousins, and they had it, and then but yeah, the Sega Genesis was the first one that I was like, I need this with me, and then you're like learning, like you're like, oh, can I hook it up to this TV, and you're just like,
of course,
that was so exciting.
I'm a little bit older than you.
Mm-hmm.
My first ever console that I played was a NES. It was Mario Brothers. It's a very, very early memory of mine. I was holding the controller and I was like, oh, I'm not playing. The other person who's here with me holding a controller is playing.
And they were just duping you?
And I'm so young. I'm like 3 years old.
Mm.
And so, like when you give your little brother or you give like your kid a controller and you're like, here, you can play. That was me. And like, I understood I wasn't playing, but it didn't bother me that much. I understood that like me pressing the buttons didn't do anything onto the screen.
Mm.
But like, I was still happy to be learning about Mario and playing, and it was Mario.
Yeah.
And then I also played arcades. Before I really understood and played Mario on a regular basis, I used to go to the arcade every Saturday with my grandmother. She would go bowling, and she would give me some quarters, and I would play in the arcade. And there was a really old Pac-Man, like flat top Pac-Man arcade game, and I played that a lot. That's probably the first like video game I played.
Mm.
And then, but like you, my first console that I ever owned was a Sega Genesis. The family had a Nintendo, but it was my grandmother's. It wasn't mine. She loved it. And we did play it a lot. And so I knew how to hook it up and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But my first ever console that I owned, I got for Christmas. It was a Sega Genesis from my grandma. Yeah.
What
I did not get Sega. I had columns.
Oh.
Yeah, Sonic. I eventually got Sonic. I loved Sonic. I had Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles. I had already beaten Sonic 1 by the time I got my own Sega.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd beaten that friend's
house. And 1, I feel like 1 was harder than 2. Like, 2 was my first game that I beat.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, after beating 2, I was like, oh, I should go back and beat 1.
Yeah.
And then you obviously do.
I don't remember the first game I ever beat. That's a good question. I do remember going back when I was like 12 and going back and trying to beat Super Mario 3, beating Super Mario 1, like doing all those. But I must have beaten games before that. And I just don't. Oh, yeah. I beat Lolo, which is like an old puzzle game.
Cool.
All right. So what's your first favorite video game? So like the first game you ever like, you would like get off school and be like, oh, I need to play this game. I want to go home and play this game. Or like, yeah, whatever. You were doing something else and you were like, you know what? I'd rather be doing playing that game. Yeah.
I think it was like Sega's version of Mega Man, which was Vector Man.
Okay.
Back then, right? It was like a little bit better graphics than Mega Man. You could shoot up and diagonally.
I love Mega Man. My first is Mega Man.
Yeah.
So it's funny
and
that you say that.
Yeah, I loved Mega Man, but like there was no Mega Man on the Sega, so it was like that was I played Vector Man before I got to play Mega Man. I saw Mega Man, and I was like, but I never got that. The formula was better for Mega Man because you had choice on how your game could play out. So
That's so true.
Value instead of just being like, can I go, like Vector Man was like, I'm going to go find all the lives, and it's all about, can I get to the end with the most lives, right? Because then at that point, you weren't confident enough in yourself to like just beat the boss on the first try, right? So you'd be like, oh, I got to save up my lives so that I could learn, because there was like no saving back then.
Yeah, I played Vector Man. I don't really remember it. I think it reminded me a lot of Earthworm Jim.
Oh, very much.
Yeah, so one
great
complaint
game,
I have about that genre of game, that game at that time on the Sega Genesis, I think the character is really big on the screen. And so the levels are really, you're seeing very little of the levels. And I think with Mega Man, that's I think the big reason I prefer Mega Man is he's small on the screen, and so he seems like he's moving faster. It seems like you see more of the levels.
Definitely more pop. Yeah, Vector Man was very sluggish compared to Mega Man.
Yeah, sometimes that's an optical illusion because of the size of the character on the screen. Yeah, something to think about.
So what's covering the ground, but just not as
yeah, moving the same speed on the screen, but slower feeling to the player. My first, I think it was Mega Man. I wanted to rent Mega Man all the time. We never owned it. We eventually did own a copy of Mega Man 3 that I think I bought from a yard sale when I was a young man. Or a young child, rather.
That's going to be so exciting to find a copy of Mega Man at a yard sale.
Yeah, but we rented all the Mega Mans that we could, and I wanted so bad to go to the store and rent Mega Man. Like, that's all I wanted to do was rent Mega Man. And I think that's my first favorite game. I mean, I loved a lot of games, but like the first one that I was like, this is my favorite.
I need this.
Was Mega Man. I still play Mega Man to this day.
And Pac-Man.
That's true, yeah. That's true. I never thought of that. I love Pac-Man. I play Pac-Man regularly.
Yeah. It's like your loading screen is a Pac-Man game.
And do you have a current favorite?
Current favorite right now? I'm definitely really enjoying Space Marine 2, the Warhammer 40k game. It definitely has everything I like from Left 4 Dead, which is just a sadistic AI trying to never give you the same experience, but also break your life. Or just ruin. And then, but you also feel like a real badass. So it has everything I love from Mercenaries and Resident Evil, and it has the fresh take on each level that Left 4 Dead brings. And you really just feel like a monster by the end of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm not playing anything a lot right now. I'm playing Resident Evil 6, a replay. And then I'm also playing Mega Man. I'm playing Mega Man 1 right now on a replay. But I would say probably right now it's Resident Evil 6. That's what I'm going to play later today. That's what I played yesterday. I'm playing through the whole Resident Evil series again. And so that's probably my current favorite at this exact moment. Okay, what's your favorite game genre? I'll answer first. So I think my favorite game genre is probably a roguelite RPG style. Like either a dungeon crawl roguelite. I really like FTL, that version where like you're unlocking more and more different branching storylines, and you end up in like different branches of the story where something like amazing might happen that couldn't have happened on any other of your 600 playthroughs or whatever. Those types of games I really like. I'll play a roguelite for a very long time. I think that has to be my favorite genre. I like them to be a little hard, so I don't beat them right away. But like Spelunky, I played Spelunky forever. That's a platformer roguelite. I played FTL, which is like a system resource roguelite. It's a weird genre because it does encapsulate like other genres, right? Like a roguelite is really like a type of game almost instead of a genre, but
it's kind of become its own genre though,
Well, it's interesting because you can have a platformer, roguelite, right? A platformer is a genre.
Yeah.
A roguelite is like a subgenre or a co-genre. It's like a type. It's interesting.
Yeah, it definitely fits in that wheelhouse, though.
Yeah, because you could have a first-person shooter, roguelite, right? Although I don't know if anyone's done a really good one of those, but you could, theoretically. My guess is yours is
probably shooters. Probably, first or third-person shooters. I definitely still play the shooters. Yeah, I definitely still enjoy the sweat. But I mean, I guess, yeah, no shooters. Shooters for now.
Yeah.
Any kind of,
You like RPG first
I
person
do, I do, I
shooters too,
do,
right?
I do love RPGs in a way, but they're definitely different states of mind, right? Because you have your shooter, which is, I guess, relaxing through action. And then if that's not enough, there's always the most dangerous game. So then you go into PvP. And you have your different releases, like you have the real competition and battle, and putting your knowledge against others, so on and so forth. And
the strategy of first-person shooter PvP can be very nuanced, and it can be very good. Yeah.
I definitely love Battlefield still. I love Battlefield because it's like it's very overloading at first because you're inside of a massive battle, right? And then if you have like the good headphones on, you hear everyone's footsteps. It's very
Yeah, I played some old like World War II and World War One like massive battle games that were very good, very realistic. I really enjoyed them. I think Verdun, I can't remember how it's pronounced, and there was another one in that by the same company. And they're very good. Like I think you'd have 100 people on a game. I might be misremembering. It would be 60 people on a game, and yeah, it was you were like going out of the trenches, charging the enemy line. It was massive, and you really had to like strategize and work with the other players on your team, even if they weren't willing to work with you, because like you just couldn't do it by yourself. You had to hold certain areas. Last question, like what do you like best about playing a video game?
I mean, it's definitely the ability to live another life, right, outside of your own. Like when I was younger, I definitely enjoyed driving games more, and then I got my license, and then driving became a constant thing, so I stopped playing as many driving games, I've noticed.
So expanding your horizons.
Definitely doing what you can't do in real life is a very obvious answer, but what do I like best about video games is...
So I think probably for me, I'm right there with you. I think like experiencing things you can't experience in real life or you don't have the means to. Yeah. I really liked Microsoft Flight Simulator. I have no desire to fly a plane, but it was really cool to fly a plane around. Like you can fly over your house, you can do that kind of thing. But I also really like just like the camaraderie. Even if you're not playing a video game with somebody, you can talk about the game. You can both share experiences from the game. You can tell stories. You have a shared universe in which you can tell stories about it. It kind of reminds me back when we were young. Everyone watched the same TV shows, basically. And the next day in school, you would talk about the show and you would have all this stuff to say. And like nowadays, there's so much TV. You can still talk about that. But like, at least with my group of friends, we all basically play the same handful of video games. Yeah. And we talk about those, and that's a lot of that. And then you can actually have shared experiences in multiplayer games. Like couch co-op has been one of my all-time favorite. You and I have played
always
hundreds and hundreds of hours
of couch co-op game. Yeah. Those are the best.
Sorry. Yeah. You have anything else you want to say? But what's like? Do you have something just about games in general, not necessarily video games? Do you?
Yes, a lot of games like as you do, even though you level up in the game, a lot of games you finish and you're a better player. Right, like if anything, I feel like can be said about the Souls games is like every Dark Souls game and Elden Ring, I definitely came out a much better player at everything by finishing those challenges and those feats. Yeah. A lot of games you really do refine yourself and like hone your edge.
That's interesting. So I think mine's slightly related. I like a lot of board games and strategy games. And I think it's kind of similar. Not that you necessarily like come out of it better for meeting the challenge, but I really like that you have to like sit and strategize and solve a puzzle that is constantly changing. You have to solve it often in real time. And even when playing against other players in a board game, that's also a puzzle. You're like, what are they going to do? What cards might they have? What pieces are they going to play? What's most advantageous to them? And therefore, what should I do? And like that's poker is one game that's like that, but so is Monopoly. So is like one game I used to love as a little kid was Keys to the Kingdom. Just there's lots of board games or strategy games or RPGs, even pen and paper RPGs that can be really fun. And yeah, like you said, you're meeting a challenge, right? So you're solving a puzzle that's changing in real time, and I really love that. So that's just something we thought we would share with you, get to know us a little bit better. If you have the answers to some of these questions, let us know in the comments. We'd like to get to know you a little bit better. And if you have other questions about video games or about our attitudes towards games and stuff like that, we'd love to also hear those. If you want to follow on our journey to making our own video game in Godot from beginning to end, subscribe, like, share this with a friend. And thanks for being here. See you next time.
Bye. I was literally just thinking, like, I don't move enough.